In a little over 2 weeks, the first of the political conventions gets underway as Republicans gather in Cleveland. The week after that, it will be the Democrats' turn in Philadelphia. And between now and then, the Veep stakes are in high gear as the parties await the selection of running mates. Now, candidates often make their choice prior to the conventions, but on the Republican side, there's speculation Donald Trump could generate even more ratings for the convention by making his big announcement there. The last time it happened was when George H.W. Bush surprised conventioneers with the nomination of Senator Dan Quayle. And here tonight to give us their perspectives on the potential vice presidential picks are Doug Eibendahl, an attorney and former general counsel to the Illinois Republican Party. He's a supporter of Donald Trump. Rebecca Sive, academic director of the Women in Public Leadership Executive Education Program at the University of Chicago and author of Every Day is Election Day, a woman's guide to winning any office. Sive is supporting Hillary Clinton. Andre Vasquez is a Bernie Sanders supporter who was instrumental in organizing Sanders events in the Chicago area. And Pat Brady, former chairman of the Illinois Republican Party, who now works as a consultant with the lobbying and public relations firm Next Generation Public Affairs. Brady co-chaired Ohio Governor John Kasich's campaign in Illinois and is indeed a delegate to the convention on behalf of Governor Kasich. Welcome all to Chicago tonight. Nice to have you here. Doug, there are quite a number of Republicans at this point who want nothing to do with Donald Trump and fewer that have expressed interest in being his vice presidential running mate. What do you make of it at this point?
Well, I disagree with your premise a little bit, with all due respect. Donald Trump got a record number of votes in the primary. He won 36, 37 states. Most of those by huge landslide margins. 15 million people voted for Donald Trump in the primary process. We're talking about these people who are distancing themselves. There are only about 7, maybe 8 or 9 that the average American has ever even heard of. These are sore losers who represent the past. They've had too many sour grapes. I mean, and frankly, Donald Trump is better off without these folks. But and also notice, if I could say, the folks that are taking their names out of contention, Donald Trump was never considering asking in the first place.
Well, Pat Brady, Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey, may not be considered a sore loser, even though he did not win. He has been very supportive of Donald Trump, and the New York Times today said that he was the leading candidate to be his vice president. But
he just took his name out of it. The bottom line is right now Trump is getting creamed in every state he needs to win this nomination. There's a poll out yesterday. He's down 6 to 11 points in the battleground states. Since he's won this nomination, he's slowly but steadily dipped in the polls. Nobody is supporting him right now. The RNC set up their apparatus for a different kind of election, so that won't be useful to him. But the bottom line is he had $1.3 million in his campaign war chest as of the end of May. That's not even good for a mayoral race.
That is such nonsense. There's a new poll today, Rasmussen. Trump is 4 points ahead. There was a McClatchin poll or another one yesterday. It was within 2 points. This narrative that Trump is tanking is just complete and utter nonsense. It's what I expect from Pat Brady and these sore losers who, his candidate only won 1 state, that was his own state, and didn't even get 50%.
All right, we're going to get to
Trump has
okay, let's just get the rebuttal on that, and we'll move on to the Democrats.
7 in 10 people disapprove of him. That is a record disapproval number. The Republican Party has a big problem right now. It's Donald Trump.
All right, let's move on to the Democrats for a second. Then we're going to get back to the Republicans. So right now, for Hillary Clinton, there are 3 big names that are being bandied about as her potential running mates that she's allegedly vetting. Elizabeth Warren, the senator from Massachusetts, Tim Kaine, the Virginia senator, and Housing Secretary Julian Castro. And indeed, earlier this week, Elizabeth Warren made her first big appearance with the presumptive Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton, in Cincinnati. And it was met with a lot of, well, we see the folks in Cincinnati there joyously welcoming this. Senator Warren has been one of the most outspoken critics of Donald Trump. Rebecca Sive, do you believe that this is a dream team for the Democratic Party?
I believe that Hillary Clinton is a dream presidential candidate. She's more qualified than anyone we've seen maybe ever. And I think that, as she has said, she will pick the person that she thinks can be a heartbeat away, can take over at a moment's notice. Clearly, all of the people she's looking at are qualified. I think a dream team of 2 women would, after 200 plus years of tickets with 2 men on them, would be terrific. I think the American public is ready for that and witness the enthusiasm you've seen.
Andre Vasquez, we should remind voters out there that Bernie Sanders is not out of the running yet. He has not left the campaign.
He has lost. He has not suspended his campaign, but Hillary Clinton, 13 million voters, Sanders lost. He cannot become the
candidate. But he has not said that he is suspending his campaign, and that's what I'm asking Mr. Vasquez about.
Clear that she is the presumptive candidate.
Presumptive nominee, but he's not out of the race just yet. Give me your reaction to that.
Yeah, so
is he the spoiler in this race here?
Well, it's people are quick to toss the term spoiler around, which is a concern. But I would say that if that's the dream team, we're hoping a lot of people wake up, right? The concern for all of us is not necessarily the person, but more the platform. So what we're concerned about isn't which person might be the best VP pick or anything like that. We want to make sure that whatever candidates we have, or who was, if it is Hillary who ends up being ultimately a Democratic nominee, that the platform she stands on is one that represents the people. And it's something we're all concerned about currently.
Could you see a Clinton-Sanders ticket?
I think it would be very unlikely for her to pick Sanders, and I don't know that if he was chosen, he'd accept it.
And I think the good news on the platform is the platform committee met this week, and Senator Sanders had the opportunity to select people who served on that committee, and they have gone further to the left, so to speak, toward the progressive side of the agenda than the platform has in many years. I would note in particular on the issue of reproductive rights, on the issues related to wages and economic development. So I think Senator Sanders has had a great impact already on the platform in a very positive way, in my view.
I would argue that it's not enough, right? That for something like the TPP, where both candidates have spoken out against, it would make sense for the platform to reflect that, and to not do that is a disservice to the American people.
Let's look at some. If you guys go any further to the left, you're going to fall off the planet. I mean, that is as far left a platform as we're ever going to have for the Democrats in my lifetime.
But of course, Republicans or Democrats are making the same argument about Donald Trump.
Well,
if you go any further to the right,
Donald Trump is not a Republican. He's not a free trader. He believes health care is an entitlement. His tax policy, his health care policy. He's nowhere in the Republican orthodox.
That's just such nonsense.
Especially on foreign policy. Give Japan nuclear weapons. He doesn't believe in free trade. He was on the television yesterday advocating war crimes, advocating torture.
That is such nonsense.
Let me finish.
It's such nonsense.
Let him finish.
And the one thing he said early in the campaign about that we should be killing the families of ISIS members. I mean, this is how far removed he's not in the Republican orthodoxy.
Doug Eibendahl, he has made a number of comments that perhaps any other candidate before him, it would have cost them any kind of nomination. Certainly, their campaign would have been suspended. Do you not see any problems with the types of things that Mr. Trump has been saying?
Donald Trump has, he does what he's running this campaign like he's run his business. He brings things in. He brings things in on ahead of schedule and under budget. I mean, look at what he's done. Look at what he's done in this. Pat Brady over there is laughing. His candidate that he co-chaired here, I mean, lost by a landslide every single state, but his home state.
My question to you was about the comments and policies and positions that Mr. Trump has taken.
Donald Trump is he is the only candidate in this race who is truly in touch with what is going on in this country and with the people. He has these huge rallies where he has a conversation with people. He has a conversation with the audience, and that's why they're so popular. And that's why he did so well in the primary season, spending very little money. It's really remarkable what he did.
Let me interrupt you right there, because we were talking about vice presidential candidates and the Veep stakes. Let's talk just a little bit about that before we continue on. So here are some of the names, and the list is much longer on the Republican side of potential candidates, vice presidential candidates. Chris Christie, we already mentioned, and then there's former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin, New Hampshire Senator Kelly Ayotte, Florida Governor Rick Scott, Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton, Tennessee Senator Bob Corker, and even former Massachusetts Senator Scott Brown, and the list goes on and on.
There's actually one more I would like to add.
Scott Brown have said they won't do it.
There's one more I would like to add that I really like is is Richard Barr, the North Carolina senator. I think is top notch, and I have no inside information, but I would not be surprised if they choose him. I like Bob Corker, Tom Cotton. Jeff Sessions, I think, would be great as well. He's actually older than Donald Trump. But all these folks that you're mentioning, I think they have a place at a minimum, have a place in a Donald Trump administration. And I think Trump sees this really as a team event. And I think the VP is just going to be part of that team.
It's funny to listen. You just got to get into reality. This is a train wreck for the Republicans. He's getting killed.
Oh, that is just such nonsense.
Doug, you had your say. Let me have.
He's
Mr.
really
Brady speak.
getting beaten badly everywhere. Everybody on that list you just put up there, with the exception of one, has already said they wouldn't do it. And I guarantee you, Tom Cotton, Harvard, double Harvard guy who went to Afghanistan and fought in the war, is not going to be on
Pat, there's
Donald
a poll
Trump.
out today
Pat Brady, let me ask you, if he picks
4 points
a
ahead.
candidate that's more moderate, that is perhaps more likable to individuals like you, to more moderate Republicans like you, will that change the dynamic?
He's not a conservative. His policies, as I said before, he's not within Republican orthodoxy. So I don't think it's going to make a difference if they're moderate or conservative. The problem is nobody wants to hitch their wagon to him because he's a train wreck, and it's a career-ending thing. That's why a guy like Newt Gingrich or Chris Christie that are done might consider it.
But it's just such nonsense. This is coming from the losingest state party chairman in
chime
history.
in, Doug?
What I would argue, and hopefully Rebecca might agree, is that when you have a right like that, you have plenty of room to go to the left, right? We see what's going on as far as the right. They're not on the same page. They can't figure it out. We have something similar in the Democratic Party, but not to that extreme.
Well, let me ask you about that also, because there are a lot of folks that also within the Democratic Party don't like Hillary Clinton. Many folks that are like Andre Vasquez and the Sanders supporters. Is that also possible that the number of people in the Democratic Party that don't like her will doom her chances?
I think that's incorrect. I think she is ahead in the key states. There are 11 key states. In terms of getting to 270, she has won millions and millions of votes in every state. She's clearly the preferred candidate of Democrats across the country in every state. Secondly, if you look at the constituencies that elect Democratic presidents, this has been true for several decades. It is women in the first place. Women voters are very enthusiastic about Hillary Clinton. Secondly, it is people of color, particularly African Americans. They overwhelmingly support Clinton. I think that while it may be the case that there are people who dislike her, just like there are people who dislike anyone in public life, she's got a winning approach to this.
Andre, I'm sorry that we're running out of time already, but I want you to have maybe the last word here
absolutely.
in terms of Sanders supporters who said it's either Bernie or nobody.
Yes,
so what's going to happen because of that?
Sure, I would say that it's taking it for granted that the American public's going to come out to vote for Hillary Clinton. And if we're looking at a low turnout, it could go either way. It's something that's concerning, and it's why.
What does Hillary have to do to bring the Sanders supporters, or what does Senator Sanders have to do to ensure that backers such as you vote for Hillary?
Well, I think Bernie's actually worked towards that. So in taking the steps to work on the actual Democratic platform, what he's doing is offering an opportunity for Hillary to move to the left and really bring people. Because you're right, we have 45% of the Democratic Party, but when you consider independents, what he's done is furthermore, beyond the actual election, is ignited people to actually run for office locally.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Unfortunately, I wish we had a lot more time because I know all of you have more to say, but I appreciate your participation tonight. Doug Ivendall, Pat Brady, Rebecca Sive, and Andre Vasquez. We hope to have you back at some point.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Up next, should the city of Chicago and its public school system declare bankruptcy? We hear from financial specialists. Stay with us.